Donald Trump just confirmed something that will send the Washington foreign policy class into full meltdown. The United States has reopened communication with North Korea, and not under Biden. Under Trump. Not officially through the White House, but through channels that still lead back to the only man who ever set foot in North Korea as a sitting U.S. president. And what did Trump say about Kim Jong Un? He called him smart, tough, and said, quote, "We had a great relationship." Now, the usual media suspects are howling, but let's pause and ask, what if Trump's not wrong? What if Trump's style of diplomacy, unscripted, ego-driven, unpredictable, is exactly what works with regimes like North Korea? Let's unpack this strategic bombshell. Because this isn't just about Trump chatting with a dictator. This is about the return of raw transactional diplomacy and the warning it sends to China, South Korea, and the military-industrial complex. We're talking again. Trump drops the bombshell. In a recent interview, Trump confirmed that informal lines of communication with Kim Jong Un are once again active. He didn't specify who, what, or how, but he said clearly that communication has resumed. He emphasized, "Kim is not someone to be underestimated. We had a very strong personal relationship. If I were in office, this problem would be gone by now. This isn't noise. This is positioning." Trump is sending a message to Pyongyang, to Beijing, and to the world. The dealmaker is back, and the back channel is open. Why Trump's North Korea strategy worked. Remember 2017? Trump called Kim Little Rocket Man and threatened fire and fury. The media lost its mind. Then, in 2018, Trump walked across the DMZ and shook hands with Kim in a historic summit. Critics called it a photo op. But let's talk results. North Korea paused long-range missile tests. The region de-escalated. No new wars, no major provocations. Trump got FaceTime with the world's most isolated dictator. Compare that to the Obama years of strategic patience. Translation: do nothing and hope it works out. Or Biden's current strategy, ignore North Korea completely while pouring money into Ukraine and Taiwan. Trump's logic was simple. Treat Kim like a rival CEO, not a cartoon villain. Offer a deal. Threaten leverage. See what happens. That style doesn't work in Foggy Bottom, but it does work in Pyongyang. Why? Because North Korea doesn't want a liberal democracy. It wants guarantees, respect, and above all, stability. Trump offered that. The media meltdown, why they hate this. Let's be real. The mainstream media hates any version of foreign policy that doesn't go through the Pentagon or the Ivy League. To them, diplomacy is supposed to be polished, slow, and backed by 100 policy papers. Trump walks in with zero script, calls Kim a smart guy, and suddenly North Korea stops lobbing missiles into the Pacific. That breaks their brains. The idea that personal rapport could matter more than institutions? Unthinkable to the blob. But in reality, that's how the world works. Putin didn't respect Biden. He waited until Trump left to invade. Xi didn't challenge Trump. But he's openly testing Biden in the South China Sea. Kim went silent under Trump. Under Biden, he's back to missile launches. You don't have to like Trump's personality to admit his chaos has utility. Dictators don't fear bureaucrats. They fear unpredictability. And Trump is nothing if not unpredictable. The strategic value of smart Kim. So why is Trump calling Kim smart again? Simple. It resets the board. Trump knows that flattery with Kim isn't weakness, it's bait. When he calls Kim smart, he's speaking Kim's language. He's offering status, legitimacy, the one thing North Korea craves more than food. The West always thinks sanctions are the ultimate tool. But Trump understands something deeper. Narrative is currency. In North Korea, image is survival. Trump used that in 2018. He's doing it again now. And here's what makes it deadly effective. Every time Trump flatters Kim, it drives the foreign policy establishment insane. That reinforces Kim's belief that Trump is a rogue operator, a man who can actually cut a deal outside the system. That perception? Priceless leverage. Why is Trump doing this now? This is not random timing. Let's zoom out. Biden is weak on foreign policy. The U.S. is stretched thin: Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan. The world is entering a new phase of bloc geopolitics, U.S. versus BRICS. And Trump is likely heading into the 2024 election as the frontrunner. By reestablishing contact with Kim, Trump signals he still controls global backchannels, paints himself as a peacekeeper in contrast to Biden's war footing, sets up North Korea as a future win if he's reelected. This is pure asymmetric diplomacy. While Biden plays by institutional rules, Trump plays by instinct, and it works in chaotic regions. Think about it. If Trump enters office again and already has an open line with Kim, that's a day one foreign policy win. Meanwhile, Biden's still drafting his 17th Ukraine aid package. North Korea's game: why they're listening. Why would Kim Jong Un reopen the line? Because he sees the writing on the wall. North Korea is stuck, sanctioned, cornered, isolated. But it's also nuclear armed and strategically located. If the U.S. re-engages, Kim gets leverage against China, relief from sanctions eventually, legitimacy on the world stage, a shot at economic concessions. And with the Trump, those outcomes are more realistic than with anyone else. Why? Because Trump doesn't care about the human rights NGOs, the press, or the bureaucrats. He cares about the deal. If Kim offers the right security guarantees, halt on testing, inspections, intel sharing, Trump could give him what no president has since 1953: an exit from the eternal standoff. Kim wants a Trump deal not because he trusts the U.S., but because he knows Trump doesn't trust the U.S. either. That's where the symmetry lies. The China angle. Beijing is watching closely. This isn't just about North Korea. If Trump gets Pyongyang back on the line, it sends a very clear message to China. I can peel off your client states. North Korea exists partly because China props it up. But if Trump can swing Kim back toward the negotiating table, it weakens Beijing's regional grip. It also injects chaos into China's calculus. Will North Korea go rogue again? Will Trump extract security concessions? Will regional missile defenses be restructured? Beijing hates unpredictability. That's why they preferred the Obama-Biden status quo. But Trump's chaos creates opportunities. Disruptive ones. Kim knows this too. He can play the middle, extracting promises from both Trump and Xi. It's dirty diplomacy, but it's realpolitik at its finest. The deep state hates this because it works. Let's talk about the elephant in the situation room. The DC machine hates when Trump runs foreign policy like a business negotiation, because it exposes how little their billion-dollar institutions actually matter. Decades of sanctions, no deal. Billions in defense buildup, no progress. One Trump phone call, silence from Pyongyang. That's the problem. If Trump can do in 10 minutes what State Department lifers couldn't do in 10 years, then why do we need them? Answer: we don't. And that scares the hell out of the bureaucracy. They don't fear Trump because he's reckless. They fear him because he's effective, not in traditional ways, but in ways that break the script. What happens if Trump wins 2024? Let's game it out. If Trump returns to office in 2025, and if backchannels with Kim are already open, we could see a new U.S.-North Korea summit by summer, a moratorium on missile tests in exchange for sanctions relief, a bilateral security pact without UN involvement, and possibly even steps toward demilitarization of the Korean Peninsula. This won't be perfect, but it will be progress. And it will reinforce Trump's brand, the only president who kept peace without starting wars. Meanwhile, Biden's team will be left with PowerPoint slides and blown-up embassies. Final thought. This isn't about liking Kim Jong Un. It's about results. Trump understands that you don't make peace with your friends. You make it with your enemies. He gets that respect, even if tactical, matters more than lectures. He knows that flattery, threat, and unpredictability aren't weaknesses, they're weapons. And most of all, he knows that foreign policy isn't about perfection. It's about leverage. The fact that he's talking to Kim again, it's not insanity. It's strategy. And if you're still playing checkers, Trump's already flipped the board. Drop your take in the comments. Should the U.S. keep back-channel talks with North Korea open or shut them down completely? Like, subscribe, share this if you're tired of fake diplomacy and forever wars, because the next peace deal might not come from Geneva. It might come from Mar-a-Lago.